First up tonight, the mayoral candidates in the Springs. They're spending thousands of dollars on campaign signs leading up to next month's election. But we're finding out tonight that money heading out of state. It's not staying local. News First 5's Carolyn Carver digging deeper. She's live tonight with a closer look at the numbers. Carolyn?
Rob, I searched through all of these required expenditure reports for all of the candidates running for the highest office in Colorado Springs. What I found, most of the candidates are spending their sign contribution money out of state, not buying locally. Mayoral campaign signs on nearly every street corner in Colorado Springs, but it turns out very few of them paid for in the Pikes Peak region.
We are taxpayers here in this town. We'd like to get a piece of the pie if at all possible.
Hurt and frustrated, longtime business owner Spencer Swan says the local shops weren't even given a shot to compete. How many candidates called you for an estimate or a bid?
Zero. Nobody in Colorado Springs. Zero, nothing. No estimates, no calls.
Local voters say local money should stay here like many of the candidates are pushing for.
Honestly, I find that a little disrespectful. I think one of the huge problems right now is that America has chosen to outsource everything, and when you have local candidates that can't even produce their signage in a local market, it's a little disappointing.
They say they spend local, they want to bring jobs here to Colorado Springs, and they're running for Colorado Springs. They should be leaving it all here at Colorado Springs.
Campaign finance records show Steve Bach spent more than $7,000 on signs from Davenport, Iowa. Iowa also seeing cash from Richard Scorman's $4,000 in signs and Tom Gallagher's $2,100. Buddy Gilmore spent more than $3,000 on signs from Iowa and $500 from Lubbock, Texas. And Brian Barr paying a company in Jacksonville, Indiana nearly $4,300. Barr and Gilmore tell me they're just trying to use their campaign donations wisely and get the best deal for their dollar. They're getting a lot of campaign money from local taxpayers, and maybe they're just getting a better bang for their buck. Do they get any credit for that?
Not in my eyes, no.
No, if they're for this community, let's support the community. I think that's the way to go.
In our search, documents show Dave Munger's the only candidate keeping all of his nearly $2,800 sign budget in Colorado Springs at a local shop. Scorman tells me he regrets the move and is spending local from now on.
People in Colorado Springs just need to pay a little more attention to these fellows that are running and read a little deeper into where they're getting their money and where they're spending it. I'm sure it's all available, but they're not spending it with sign shops in town. I know that for sure.
Rob, many of the candidates also spend some local money on signs, but just a couple $100s here or there. Again, the majority of the sign funds were spent out of state. Reporting live in Colorado Springs, Carolyn Carver, News First 5.
Carolyn, thanks. The Colorado Secretary of State has assigned watchdogs to the April 5th Springs municipal election. The city clerk says she welcomes the oversight because she wants a fair and transparent election. The Secretary of State decided to add oversight after numerous candidates and the clerk requested it. Workers from the Secretary of State's office will observe all the processes in preparing for that election as well.